All right, and we're recording. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Senior Enlisted Academy Class 228, Class Convocation. Again, I am Senior Chief Adan Castillo, but I go by AC. I'm one of the faculty advisors at the Senior Enlisted Academy, and I'll be the one navigating us through tonight's convocation. Uh, with me online tonight, I have four other faculty advisors that will be helping me out tonight. I have Senior Chief Amy Santos, Master Chief Laura Stout, Senior Chief Henry Nickel, and Senior Chief John Wade. So, as you can see on your screen, as you can see on the slide on your screen, I'll ask one last time before we continue on to please mute your mics. You can minimize the chatter. All right, so the purpose of tonight's session is to provide some clarity to common hardships or difficulties that some students face early on in the course. In order to do that, we're going to talk about the things that you see on your screen. We're going to cover your first major assignment coming up, or the closest alligator to the boat, as some of us like to say, which is your problem essay. So we'll touch on some of the basics, some of the key things for that assignment. We'll then transition to provide you some of the basics to discussion boards that you'll be asked to complete on a weekly basis. And then we'll share some things to help you stay on top of things so that you don't fall behind. Because once you do, it becomes kind of difficult to get caught back up. Not impossible, but slightly difficult. So we're going to share some key things to help you stay on top of things, and then move on naturally to some share with you some keys to success. And at the end of it, we'll provide an opportunity for some Q&A, some question and answer. But know that you don't have to wait until the end of the presentation to ask your questions. If at any point in time during my presentation a question pops up, please feel free to ask it via the chat feature on the system that we're on. So if any questions arise throughout, please keep your mic muted and type out your question. One of the other four FAs, and we'll probably have more that join us throughout the night, will jump on that question as soon as you ask it. So again, please don't feel that you have to wait until the end. If anything comes up, go ahead and type it out, and one of my colleagues will help you out. And with that, we'll get it moving. So as promised, the first closest alligator to the boat, or your first major assignment coming up, is your problem essay. All right. Um, it's a major assignment only by name. Is it difficult? Well, it can be, but if you stick to the practical exercise and you adhere to what it's asking, what it's directing you to do, you should get through it fairly easy. So I'll actually be jumping between the PowerPoint and going back to Blackboard to show you what some things are. Some things that we'll cover when I jump over to Blackboard is the practical exercise, or the PE, as I'll refer to from here on out, and more than likely your FAs will address it as such as well. On that PE, I'll show you where you can find the main points that are required for that essay that you shall not deviate from when you compose that essay. I'll also show you where you can find the similarity percentage that you have to stay below to avoid pretty much automatic failure. And I'll show you where you can find the required essay length for this specific essay, and some other things such as the number of references and required references that you have to hit. All right, so let me just mute one person, then we'll get it going. All right, so on Blackboard, when you get to your group page, you're going to want to navigate over to the left-hand side and find the Major Assignments tab right here on the left-hand side that will provide you all the information, all the documents that will make drafting your essays just a little bit easier for you. We've loaded into Blackboard many resources that will help you out throughout the course. So for this first essay, the problem essay, and like every other essay, you'll want to start off at major assignments. At the top, you're going to see um, the first section is about Turn It In. Turn It In is the program that we utilize to get the essays to us. So when you draft your essay, you'll be required to submit your essay through this Turnitin program. So right up top, what you're going to see is instructions on how to submit, a YouTube video explaining what similarity is, and then instructions on how to view the grades and feedback in Turnitin if that's how your faculty advisor or your FA grades. But again, as already mentioned, your first major assignment coming up is the ethics essay, not the problem last. The ethics essay is coming up. Um, so right under the turn in instructions, you're going to see the sections for the ethics essay. And as I mentioned before, one of the first things you're going to want to do that you need to do is pull up the practical exercise. And that's that first thing there. So when you open up the practical exercise, this is going to give you everything you need to know for this specific assignment, this ethics essay. Every essay will have its own individual practical exercise. So it's going to be key that you go to the proper one because the requirements are different between every essay. So make sure that you are following the appropriate practical exercise for it. And this practical exercise is going to give you everything you need to know, all the rules, all the guidance, all the specifics that you need to adhere to for drafting it. Um, Most common reason for a failing essay is not adhering to or following this document. So make sure you read it in its entirety. It's going to tell you that you have to follow the three-part communications model, or 3PC, that we utilize here at the Senior Enlisted Academy. So make sure you brush up on that. All that is covered in the first week, this week, of the curriculum. You're to choose a case, one specific case out of the Encyclopedia of Ethics, which can also be found on Blackboard. Item number 3, you download the encyclopedia and you pick one case to write on. The PE tells you that this specific essay has to be 2 to 3 pages. Those 2 to 3 pages does not include the title and the reference page. So that's 2 to 3 pages of content. Here at the Senior Enlisted Academy, all of your essays will be written in accordance with the American Psychological Publication Manual, or the APA, and we utilize the 6th edition. If you don't have one, no sweat. We've provided one for you as well. So if you go to resources on Blackboard left-hand side, Master in APA Style, you're going to see that we provide you a digital copy of the APA manual. Commonly used ones is Chapter 6 for crediting sources, Chapter 7 for reference examples if you want just those specific sections, but then ultimately we have the entire manual that you can utilize throughout the course to draft your essays. So no need for you to go and check one out or buy one. We have one for you available. Practical exercise is going to tell you that for this specific essay, the ethics essay, you it's going to tell you that when it comes to references, you're going to have to use at a minimum 2 references, and that one of those references, one of the 2 at a minimum 2, one of them has to be the Encyclopedia of Ethical Failure. And it only makes sense since the case that you're writing from is directly out of that document. So make sure that you properly credit all the sources that you utilize when you draft all of your essays. And again, chapter 6 and 7 is going to be key when you work towards composing those citations and those references, because chapter 6 and 7 are specific to that. So make sure that for this specific essay, you use a minimum of 2, one of them being the encyclopedia. Earlier, I talked about the Similarity Index. The PE is going to tell you what it is for each essay. So for this essay, the ethics, it's going to be a minimum or a maximum of 30. Anything about 30% will be a deduction of 31 points. So right off the top, max score you can get is a 69, which results in a failure, as the minimum passing score for all Senior Enlisted Academy assignments is 70%. So make sure you know the limit and that you stay below it. And later on in the presentation, we'll touch a little bit more on a Similarity Index. Every essay that you write has to be written in third person, and that's covered right there in bullet number 9. And then bullet number 10 is going to provide you the main points that this essay has to present and cover. So for this one essay, you're going to cover 2 main points and 2 main points only. Um, some students think that if they choose to write about more, they'll get extra credit or the essay will be better, when in fact it doesn't. If you go rogue and don't stick to this assignment, then that's going to actually result in a loss of points and possible failure. So make sure that you adhere and cover the main points that the practical exercise directs and dictates. For this essay, you have to cover main point 1 background and main point 2 impact. For those of you that have already looked at and reviewed week 1 material, you're going to see that as part of 3-part communications, you have to verbatim use these main points when it comes to your essay. They have to be verbatim when it comes to heading, the overview, the summary sentence, and all those things. If what I'm saying sounds foreign, make sure you review the material in week 1 or go back and review it, because it's crucial that you adhere to and stick to these main points. Um, Aside from giving you the main points that you're going to cover, it's going to tell you a little bit about what that main point should touch on. For example, main point 1 background um, will explain the background of the scenario the student is analyzing or the case that you chose out of the encyclopedia. It should explain the details surrounding the ethical decision making of the leaders in the scenario. So pretty straightforward what it's asking you to do. And then it'll do the same thing for main point 2, which in this case is impact. And then it'll give you a brief synopsis of what it is you are to cover. So that's the quick down and dirty for the practical exercise and the guidelines that you're required to follow in composing your first major assignment, which is the ethics essay. Um, and to get to this practical exercise, for those of you that just joined us, and all other practical exercises, very easy, left-hand side, major assignments. And all you got to do is scroll down and find the appropriate assignment, and you'll be able to get it. So again, the first major assignment coming up, due date of the second week, Sunday, no later than 23:59 is the ethics essay. Make sure that you read the entire practical exercise and cover all those requirements. On the weekly, you'll have discussion board posts that you'll be required to make. Um, don't know if I missed anybody, sorry, joining. There we go. Let's see. Do I have any adjunct faculty advisors online? Doesn't look like they made it on. And the reason I asked for an adjunct faculty advisor is because, as you're aware, each group in the course has 2 faculty advisors. Your military faculty advisor, which is your primary point of contact and liaison with the schoolhouse. Then you also have an adjunct advisor. The adjunct advisors are retired military members that were at one point military faculty advisors, and they now are responsible for grading and managing, monitoring your discussion board posts, and then ultimately grading your capstone essay, which will come some weeks down the line. But their key weekly interaction with you will be through discussion board posts. When it comes to discussion board posts, it's going to be critical and crucial that you again follow the guidelines set forth in the discussion board rubric. And here in a little bit, I'll jump back to Blackboard and show you where you can find that rubric. Key things: stick to the word count and make sure that you properly cite your sources. So jumping back to Blackboard, when you begin to start drafting and working towards your weekly discussion board post, make sure you pull up the rubric. The discussion board rubric is going to tell you what you need to do, how, and by when. So to get to the discussion board rubric, if you haven't already found it, make sure you go to the Navigation and Downloads tab over here on the left-hand side. Open that up. Scroll down past the explanation of what all the little buttons on the left-hand side are. And you're going to see right down here the syllabus, the rubrics, and the student handbook. In this case, we're talking discussion board rubric, so that's the second thing. So go ahead and open that up. And if you read, follow, and adhere to this document, your discussion board rubric should be fairly good to go. Key things that I'll point out is the due dates. One of the easiest ways to fail is to be late or not submit certain things when they're due. So you'll see here that primary responses are due by Wednesday, no later than 23:59 Eastern Time, and your secondary responses are due no later than 23:59 Eastern Time on Saturdays. Now, week one is a little bit different. There's a lot of things going on with your mandatory requirements, getting used to it. So this week, week one and week one only, all your discussion board posts are due no later than 23:59 Eastern Time this coming Saturday, so 2 days from now. Beyond that, week 2, 3, 4, and all the weeks that remain in the course, these are the deadlines that you're going to have to stick to. So make sure you print this out, you post it on your wall next to whatever machine you work on, or do whatever you got to do, but make sure you meet these deadlines. Word counts, just underneath that. Your primary responses, says it right there, 200 to 250 words. Your secondaries, 50 to 100 words. Again, exceeding that limit will get you no extra points, and it'll in fact cause you to lose points. So make sure you stick to what we're asking you to do. And then a brief synopsis on the grading criteria that'll make up your grade and what your adjunct advisors go off of. When you cite your sources, again, where you're writing in an APA style, and that's makes for good practice when you actually move towards writing your essays. So the more you do it, theoretically, the better you get. So take your discussion board post as an opportunity to practice your APA mechanics. And again, the APA manual, which we put into Blackboard for you, is a great source of help, as is your faculty advisors. Ultimately, make sure that you adhere to your adjunct faculty advisor's guidance. Your adjunct FA will put out guidance on what they look for, how they grade, things to avoid, things that they want to see. So any correspondence coming from your adjunct FA or your military FA, make sure you read it and you take it for what it is, because it's for your benefit. So yeah, make sure you utilize it. Key things to take away from this is that this week and this week only, make sure you have your post submitted no later than 23:59 Eastern by Saturday. Every other week is going to revert to the Wednesday deadlines and the Saturday deadlines. You'll make your posts on Blackboard under your group discussion. So when you get to your group homepage, there's 2 ways to access your group discussion board, either on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. Either way it goes, you want to make sure that you're in your group discussion board post. And this is the same area where you'll request your essay topics and all that good stuff. Make sure you go to the appropriate week. Believe it or not, some people somehow make it their post in the incorrect week. Every week you'll be asked to respond to 2 questions. For week 1 this week, if you haven't already seen it, you're going to be asked to respond to a question regarding 3-part communications, and then a second one about the profession of arms. To make your post, go to the specific question that you want to answer, and your primary post is going to be in response to the question at the top. It's going to be either posted by your faculty advisor or it's going to be tagged as anonymous. Either way it goes, it's the question that is in darker gray. To make your primary post, you're going to hit reply, and then you'll type out your 200 to 250 word count response. Once you type it out, hit submit, and you'll be good to go. Your secondary responses will be made to another student's primary post. And this is where adhering to your faculty or your adjunct advisors, your adjunct FA's guidance is going to be key. Some adjunct FAs will ask you to make the post by hitting the reply um, or the quote button. So it's going to be key that you do it in the appropriate manner. But either way it goes, you'll hit one or the other, and then you'll make your 50 to 100 word post, and you'll hit submit. So that's pretty much the basics and the key things to know about discussion board posts. Make sure you find the rubric for discussion board posts found under the navigation and download tab in Blackboard. Make sure you stick to the due dates and times, adhere to the word limits, and make sure you properly cite your sources, which is going to benefit you when you begin to write your essays. And above all, follow your specific or individual adjunct FA's guidance to make sure that you're doing what they want to see. Staying on top of things. As mentioned, this course it can be pretty tasking, get a little bit overwhelming at times. So, to avoid falling behind and taking unnecessary failures, make sure that you do not miss any deadlines. If you even think that there's a possibility that you're not going to make something, you have, I don't know, anything comes up, make sure you communicate with your faculty advisors, your FAs. Communicate early and often. Let them know. We've all been students of the Senior Enlisted Academy. We know what it is. The majority of us came from sea duty where we took the course, and we know that operational commitments pop up last minute. We know that life happens. So we'll work with you, but you have to communicate with us and communicate early. Telling us after the fact, after you've already missed the deadline, well, there's going to be pretty much nothing we can do. So again, communicate early, communicate often. As I mentioned already with the essay, do not exceed the similarity index. Um, every essay is going to have its own maximum allowable percentage. Make sure you stay below it. Easiest way to do that is to begin early. Do not wait until the last minute to submit your assignment. The closer to deadline that you submit, the more bogged down the system gets. You submit early enough, the system should be able to generate a percentage for you within a minute. You submit, it'll do its thing, and then it'll give you your percentage. It'll also even tell you what it's hitting you on. So review the Turnitin material in that's on top of the major assignments, and you should be good to go from there. It'll explain everything about the similarity, how to find it, how to read it, how to fix it. But my advice to you is to, again, start early, submit early. That way you know where you're at. If your similarity percentage is a bit high, well, you'll have time to adjust, tweak it, paraphrase, do whatever you got to do, resubmit, and you should see it go down. The longer you wait, the slower it'll be for you to get it, and you may not even get the percentage until after the deadline. And again, once the deadline hits, that's what your faculty advisor is going to grade out. So if you exceed it, you're going to take a 31-point deduction. So stay on top of that. But the biggest thing, as I already mentioned, is missing to submit an assignment by the due date and time. I've said it multiple times, Eastern time. All of your assignments, all the due times, the cutoff times, and no later than times are on Eastern time. So regardless of where you're at the world, make sure that you're making your times based on Eastern time, because that's what we'll be. We've populated all the deadlines, due dates, and everything all over Blackboard. We've pretty much made it, put it in your face at every click. You can find the due dates and times on the syllabus, calendar, weekly checklist, and then your faculty advisors will be communicating with you throughout the course, letting you know when things are due or if any changes have been made. Uh, Ultimately, if you haven't already noticed or seen it, every single week when you go to make your discussion board post in your group discussion board area, you're going to see in red reminders of what's coming up due and when it's due. So it's going to be very hard for you to argue a late submission with your faculty advisor because we've provided you every opportunity to not miss it. So please, for your good and ours as well, make sure that you stay on top of things and don't be late on your assignments. Some keys to success that we'll share with you, and basically a recap of sorts that'll help you succeed and finish with this course as beneficial to you as possible. Is be open to the learning experience. Get out of your comfort zone. Remember that we're more than just maintainers, operators, builders, aircrewmen, whatever. There's more to our Navy than we may know or be accustomed to. So be open to everything and take it for what it is, and share. If you disagree with something, then do it appropriately over the discussion board post. That's what it is. This course is by us, for us, and you're us as well. So um, help us learn. We will learn as much from you as we hope that you learn from us. So be open to it just as we are open to it as well. Um, Pretty much already beat this one down, but read and stick to the practical exercise. Pay attention to those deadlines. And if anything comes up, if anything doesn't feel right, make sure you communicate it with your faculty advisor. Uh, we can't help if we don't know the help is needed or where or what type of help is needed. So help us help you. Use your mess. And by that, I mean your chief's mess at your command. Um, Consider your specific group as its own mess, and ultimately use us. We're part of your mess as well. So there's zero excuses to why you should be trying to overcome any hardships or difficulties on your own. We're all in this together. We want you to succeed almost as much as you want to succeed. So use all your resources. Um, your command, your senior enlisted leaders, your group mates, your adjunct FAs, your military FAs. Look for those that are graduates of the Senior Enlisted Academy. I'd advise you to look for those that are very recent graduates. Our curriculum is continuously being updated and changed to adhere to our changing environment military. So the more recent, the better off you're going to be. Uh, Find one and make them or ask them to be your academic mentors. We graduate over 1,200 students a year that are scattered throughout the world. So it should not be that difficult for you to find one. But if you do experience some difficulties finding one, well, reach out to your FA. Your FA should be able to connect you with somebody, a recent student in your geographic region, and they'll be able to help you out. If you haven't already found us on Facebook, the Senior Enlisted Academy does have a Facebook page, and there's a thread specifically to academic mentors where people sign up and make themselves available. So again, crucial to your success is in sorts humbling yourself and asking for help when help is needed. There's plenty of people all around you that are being more than willing to help you out. So I can't stress the importance and benefit of having an academic mentor. And hey, when it's all said and done, you might want to sign up yourself and you yourself provide some mentorship to a future student. Uh, in summary, and before we open it up to the question and answer session that I mentioned, just a quick recap of everything we talked about. We covered some of the basics of your first major assignment that's coming up, which is the ethics essay. So make sure you set yourself up for success and review the documents and the items that we've talked about. We covered the discussion boards and the overview of the discussion board requirements. Again, there's a discussion board rubric that'll be key to your success. Make sure you stay within the word limits and you make your post by the due dates and times. Um, Shared with you some keys to success to help you out. Talked about some things to avoid. And with all that said, I'll now open it up to any questions. So if you didn't type one out or you didn't get the response that you were looking for in the chat feature, we'll take this opportunity to, well, answer it for you. So if you do have a question that you'd like to ask, unmute yourself, ask the question, and then please mute yourself again. So we'll open it up for questions. All right. Well, I see.
I have a question.
All right, what you got?
So the question I have, this is Chief Mayfield. I go by Chubbs. I'm in a red group. I know you said that there needs to be a response to somebody else's post. So let's say I submit my discussion board post first, and then somebody replies to mine. Does me replying to their reply count as my reply, or do I need to go comment on somebody else's original post?
That's an awesome question. So thank you for asking it. And the perfect person to answer that is going to be your specific faculty advisor. Uh, every faculty advisor will tailor the learning experience based on how they see fit. So what one likes to see, another one may tweak it a little bit differently. So I would say that generally the answer is going to be no, but so that I don't limit you, I would ask that you ask your faculty advisor, both your military and your adjunct faculty advisor. So I know that I'm not answering your question 100%, but that's what I have for you at this time.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. What other questions do we have? I see. I see people are. I see people are typing out some questions. Rusty, Brian, have you had your question answered? He's stating that he stumbled upon a video where someone showed exactly how to do the essays. I can't find it now. Any idea where that would be? So Rusty is asking where to find videos on how to draft up essays. I'm gonna say that they're in the weekly lessons. In week 1, and they're going to go down to the course material, and it's if I if I if I'm right, and I think what you're looking for is one of these 4 videos right here. So these 4 videos, you got a 9-minute, a 10-minute, a 5-minute, then one of those 3 is going to provide you what you're looking for. And I see a bingo from Rusty, so I think I answered that one appropriately. Uh, I got Michael Steffi asking, is there no way to delete a post response? Has has that been answered yet? Let's see. All right. Wow. All right, I think Michael got his question answered. Laura, Amy, Nick, or Ryan, you got anything to add to tonight's presentation?
Hi, this is James. I do have a question. Just to be clear, the ethic essay is not due until the 20th, right? Or next week on week 2.
Well, let's make sure together. So what we're going to do is we're going to refer to one of the items in Blackboard that'll help you keep track of due dates and times. So on the left-hand side, everybody will have a calendar tab. Now on mine, because I have a faculty advisor privileges, you're going to see a couple of extra things, but I'll isolate it to just class 228. So let me uncheck that. So what you'll see when you hit the calendar tab in Blackboard is you're going to see your entire distance learning course populated into this calendar. So the ethics essay, which is right here, is due, as you stated, on the 20th of October, no later than 23:59. So by 23:59 Eastern Time, your essay has to be submitted via Turnitin into Blackboard. And this is a great feature. This one will give you the specific dates, the syllabus, the discussion board reminders. That'll just tell you that it's due on the Sunday of week 2. Well, in this calendar, you're going to actually be able to see the calendar date and the time. So as a student, this helped me out immensely when I was going through. It helped me keep track of all my dates. So I hope that answered your question, brother.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions out there?
Sir, this is First Sergeant Andrew Williams. I'm with the Marine Corps. I'm with the Brown Group.
Yes, sir.
I noticed too in the navigation downloads link on the left-hand side, scrolling all the way down, there's a download center. And it allows me to download pretty much everything. Is that the most up-to-date material that we're going to need for this distant learning period as well? And then second thing is I'm kind of new to all the online training and or schooling and all this. Most of this is all foreign to me. I think I submitted everything on time that I need to so far, with the exception of the discussion boards, which I'm tracking is by Saturday. If we haven't heard anything by now, we're pretty much on track of everything that we've had to meet up to now, correct?
All right, so I'll start at the top. So your first comment/question was about the download center, and that's a great point, and thank you for bringing it up. But the download center is definitely the download center in this course is definitely what you will need for your class. So yes, it is the most up to date. It is what you will be using. So to get to the download center, as he mentioned, you're going to go to the navigation and downloads tab. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you're going to see the download center link. This is this is something that if you are in any kind of situation where a short minute detachment, deployment, non-connectivity thing arises, this is something that's going to be good to have, because you'll be able to download the material and access it without Wi-Fi, depending on where you save it, your desktop, your hard drive, thumb drive, whatever. But yes, it is the most up to date, and this is what you will be using through the rest of the course. It's segmented off by weeks, as you see. So yeah, I recommend that you do download them. So that's that. Your second comment was about, I believe it was about whether you're up to date or not on the requirements up to this point. Unfortunately, I don't know that. I'm not the faculty advisor for the Brown Group, so I'm not going to be able to answer that for you. But I do advise you to reach out to your FA. That's the individual that's going to know 100% if you're good to go or not. Um, To contact them, you can go find their contact information on the VSEA staff. Is one place. You find your faculty advisor, and it'll have their email address, desk numbers. Most of us put our cell phone numbers, so that's one way to reach out to them. And if you don't know who your faculty advisor is, they'll all be identified on your individual group homepage. So unfortunately, I can't answer it for you. Um, so reach out to them. Send them an email tonight. They may see it tonight, if not first thing tomorrow, and they'll get back to you. But yeah, for the mandatory requirements, if you didn't already receive a letter saying you were getting disenrolled from the course, then there's a very good chance that you're good to go in regards to that. And I'm thinking I'm missing one thing. What was it?
That should be it.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you for asking. Any other questions? All right. I see that Amy's been busy answering questions, just as Ryan, Laura, Nick. So once again, I'll open it up to any one of you four. If you got anything to add to tonight's presentation, any advice or comments you'd like to give or make. Don't be shy. All right. Well, I guess they're being shy tonight. So, any other questions out there? All right. Well, I'll take everyone's silence. I'll take everyone's silence as a acknowledgement that I did a good job tonight, and I put out all the information in the most effective and appropriate way. But if something comes up later on, again, reach out to your FA, send them an email, shoot them a text, give them a phone call, and they'll be more than willing to help you out. It's not our first rodeo. Yes, we're doing it through from the faculty advisor side, but again, we've all been in the exact same situation that you're in, so we'll do our best to make it easier than it might have been for us. We want you to succeed just as much as you do, and we're going to do what we got to do. All you got to do is help us help you, and oftentimes meet us halfway, and we'll take care of the rest. As I mentioned when we started, tonight's session was recorded, so we'll be posting this to our YouTube channel and sending out the link on how to access it at some point tomorrow. So if you want to review it at a later time, you can access it there. And if you have some shipmates, some group mates that weren't able to make it tonight, let them know that it'll be posted, as long as there's no technical issues that arise between now and tomorrow when we upload it. So thank you for joining us. Look forward to meeting each and every one of you when you make it in residence into Newport, and learning with each and every one of you along the way. So once again, thank you for joining us tonight. Good luck, and we'll see you in Newport in the weeks to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.